Imagine a world on edge. The global economy, already fragile, teeters on the brink. Suddenly, a shockwave. The United States, long a champion of free trade, declares economic war on its closest allies. This is not a scene from a movie, but a stark reality that has gripped the world in 2025. It began with a series of unexpected pronouncements that sent ripples of fear through boardrooms and farms, factories and stock exchanges. The global trade war, a conflict few anticipated, had begun. The architect of this economic upheaval was none other than former President Donald Trump, who had returned to the political stage with a vengeance. His weapon of choice, tariffs, those age-old tools of economic warfare. Trump, with his trademark bombast, vowed to protect American jobs and punish countries he accused of unfair trade practices. But his actions, instead of ushering in a new era of American prosperity, have plunged the world into chaos and uncertainty. Trump's return to the White House was marked by a flurry of executive orders. One of the most consequential was the reinstatement of tariffs on goods from China, Mexico, and Canada. These tariffs, ranging from 10% to 25%, targeted a wide array of products from steel and aluminum to cars and electronics. Trump argued that these tariffs were necessary to protect American jobs and industries from what he called predatory trade practices by these countries. The tariffs, however, were met with immediate condemnation from business leaders and economists alike. They warned that the tariffs would harm American consumers, raise prices, and disrupt supply chains. The tariffs, they argued, were a blunt instrument that would do more harm than good. But Trump, unmoved by these warnings, pressed ahead with his agenda, convinced that his actions would ultimately make America great again. The response from the targeted countries was swift and decisive. Canada, Mexico, and China wasted no time in announcing retaliatory tariffs of their own. Canada, long considered a steadfast ally of the United States, imposed tariffs on a range of American goods, including steel, aluminum, and agricultural products. Mexico, too, retaliated with tariffs on American goods, targeting key exports like corn, soybeans, and auto parts. China, the world's second-largest economy, responded with a combination of tariffs and other measures. It imposed tariffs on American agricultural products, a move that threatened to devastate American farmers. China also threatened to restrict the operations of American companies operating within its borders, a move that sent shockwaves through the American tech industry. The message was clear: the trade war was on, and the world was watching. The immediate impact of the trade war was felt most acutely in the American heartland. Farmers, already struggling with low commodity prices and rising debt, found themselves caught in the crossfire. China, once a major buyer of American soybeans and other agricultural products, slashed its purchases. The price of soybeans plummeted, leaving farmers with mountains of unsold crops and mounting financial losses. The manufacturing sector, another pillar of the American economy, was also hit hard. The tariffs on steel and aluminum, meant to protect American jobs, had the opposite effect. The tariffs raised the cost of raw materials for American manufacturers, making them less competitive in the global market. Companies like Ford, General Motors, and Boeing, reliant on global supply chains, announced layoffs and production cuts. The trade war, far from bringing back jobs, was costing Americans their livelihoods. Section 5. The domino effect: supply chains and inflation. The tariffs, like a stone cast into a pond, created ripples that spread throughout the global economy. Supply chains, those intricate networks that connect producers and consumers around the world, were thrown into disarray. Companies that relied on parts and materials from multiple countries found themselves scrambling to find alternative sources. The disruptions led to delays, shortages, and higher costs. Consumers, faced with rising prices for everything from cars and electronics to groceries and gasoline, felt the pinch. Inflation, long dormant, reared its ugly head, eroding purchasing power and fueling economic anxiety. The trade war, it seemed, was turning into a lose-lose proposition for everyone involved. Section 6. Economic tremors, jobs, and markets. The economic fallout from the trade war was not confined to the United States. The tariffs, by disrupting global trade and investment, sent shockwaves through the global economy. Stock markets around the world tumbled, as investors, spooked by the escalating trade tensions, fled to safety. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, a key barometer of American economic health, plunged by more than 1,000 points in a single day. Job losses mounted, not just in the United States but also in Canada, Mexico, and China. The trade war, it seemed, was pushing the world towards a global recession. Economists warned that the tariffs, if not reversed, could trigger a full-blown economic crisis, the likes of which the world had not seen since the Great Depression. Section 7. A world in flux. New alliances emerge. The trade war, while devastating in its economic impact, also had profound geopolitical consequences. The United States, by turning its back on its closest allies, created a void on the world stage. China, sensing an opportunity, moved quickly to fill that void. It strengthened its economic ties with Russia, India, and other countries, forging new trade alliances and challenging American economic dominance. The European Union, too, sought to diversify its trade relationships, reducing its reliance on the United States and forging closer ties with Canada and Mexico. The trade war, it seemed, was accelerating a shift in the global balance of power, with the United States at risk of being left behind. Section 8. The long game, a shifting world order. The global trade war, now in its third year, shows no signs of abating. The tariffs remain in place and the rhetoric between the United States and its former trading partners remains heated. The long-term consequences of this economic conflict are still unfolding, but one thing is clear: the world has changed. The era of American economic dominance, if not over, is certainly fading. The trade war has accelerated the rise of China and other emerging economies, while also highlighting the fragility of the global economic order. The world is entering a new era, one characterized by uncertainty, volatility, and shifting alliances. The question now is, what role will the United States play in this new world order? Experts suggest multiple scenarios: a multipolar world with several dominant economies, or a fragmented global system with regional powers. As the dust settles, the future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the global landscape will never be the same. The global trade war future implications. The trade war has set a precedent for future international relations. Experts predict that the ripple effects will be felt for decades, influencing global trade policies and economic strategies. As countries adapt to the new normal, the world watches closely to see who will emerge as the new leaders in the global market. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear: the global trade landscape has been irrevocably changed. America is standing at a crossroads. The choices made in the coming months won't just shape the economy, they'll define our place in the world for decades to come. Will the U.S. fight to regain its economic strength? Or will it be left behind as new global powers rise? So here's the deal. Hit that like button if you believe America needs a smarter trade strategy. Subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown on how this crisis unfolds. And most importantly, drop a comment below. Is Trump's strategy bold leadership or a reckless gamble? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, and I'll see you in the next one.